During COVID, a lot of businesses had a really hard time, and I'm really glad that you guys were able to survive and push through it. But not all companies were as successful. I remember being on the phone with you during COVID, and you mentioned Super Sensitive, which is a company that's quite famous. I believe was out of Florida, and then you said, "Oh yeah, they're going out of business." Can you share just how COVID was really tough for some companies, and can you just share that story?
Sure. COVID was very tough because you were forced to shut down. I mean, really, um, and some of that money wasn't enough really to keep you going after we were able to reopen. International Violin actually had to. I'm actually a volunteer fireman, and through my connections, we were able to sell masks, thermometers, hand sanitizers, and stuff like that. So we were deemed essential. So we were allowed to stay open. Now, all these people home, forced to be home, they needed something to do, and some people said, "Hey, I wanted to always make a violin. Let's make a violin." A lot of those people that were in the violin shops or the music stores that repaired, now that they're home, they can maybe make something, right? Um, but unfortunately, a lot of companies didn't survive. Super sensitive. I'm not so sure it was exactly COVID, but I do know that I was friends with the Kavanaughs for many years,
And the other owners.
and yeah, they were the owners of Super Sensitive, and they had a great brand. I mean, of course, I mean everybody remembers the brand Super Sensitive
Yep.
for their school,
The strings,
you
clear,
know,
rosin,
right,
really cool.
right, certain, and they catered towards the student market. They started trying to get into the intermediate and professional market with certain strings, but because of that Super Sensitive brand, it kept pulling them back to that student world. So it really didn't work. I mean, they did a great job, but COVID really did a 1-2 punch, and Diodario decided to take over the brand, and they did a very good job keeping that brand alive. Yeah.
You mentioned that you work with some schools and makers and you help develop some tools. Could you elaborate on that? Because that's really cool.
Sure, absolutely. So over the years, I constantly, hear about, wow, I wish this was available. I wish someone would make this. And we have the vast network of machine shops, and people that are already making tools, and you would present these ideas to these folks. And then they were like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Would you be willing to sell it if I make it?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, sure, but we got to make sure it's right." So we'll create something and we'll go back and forth, go back and forth. I'm a luthier myself. I have a shop out of my home where I repair and restore instruments. So I'm a firm believer in basically, if I'm selling it, I better know how to use it myself, not just out of a book. Um, so we would go back and forth with these machine shops and create exactly what these people, were basically needing and wanting. So anywhere from templates to handles to measuring tools, to calipers, certain gouges that are necessary to get into these tight places, bow repair items. So there's a lot of things that we've at International Violin been really involved in creating and helping to create those tools. You know.
What are some of your favorite partnerships with companies? Do you get? I'm sure you get to interact with reps from Tomastic to Diodario to whoever else. What are some of your favorite brands to work with that everybody in the string, fretted or unfretted, knows?
Sure. Well, International Violin, we certainly have competitors, and but we have a great relationship with our competitors. In fact, sometimes we often will trade back and forth to help each other out. But as far as brands go, I mean, wow, there are so many brands that we represent. Um, I mean, I mean, we literally have a full catalog or website full of all the brands that we sell and carry. I'm not sure I have a favorite, um, but yeah, I do. My favorite brands would be brands that we've created here at International Violin Company, such as our Calvert line of instruments, our Lorenzo Conti instruments. We take a lot of pride. We have a line of instruments called the Calvert, and we had a relationship with folks that went to the Violin Making School of America in Salt Lake City in the late '90s and early 2000s, and they went back to China. And they're ordering like crazy, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what are you doing with all this stuff?" And he says, "Well, I started a shop, and we went back and forth, and I was like, wow, this is a great instrument." So we started representing that shop. And a lot of people say, "I own a violin shop in China." Well, you don't really own it. You probably give them enough work where they're exclusively working for you. And that's what we do. Um, and so there's a lot of models that we've helped create. The 5-string market, with the fiddle market and also teaching has gotten quite popular. And so we, helped design from the ground up a 5-string violin, not just a 4-string violin with a 5-string neck. I'm talking like actual 5-string violin, everything from the bass bar, the model, everything. Um, and so we're able to do that with this maker. Do certain Magini models, I mean, you name it. And then in various forms, we get it in the white, unvarnished. We get it in the white where the tops are just tacked on, that people can graduate, which is control the thickness of the top, put their own bass bar in and voice the instrument, to finished, varnished instruments. So various stages. But, so as far as the brand, Calvert, Lorenzo Conti, that's our bread and butter when it comes to our brand.